Alright, so let's just jump right into this, guys. As you all know right here, absolutely chaos has unfolded in the Wonderland ecosystem. Sifu, who is the Wonderland treasury, has been doxxed. Finally, we all know who he is, and he is a convicted ex-felon. Not just, a little petty felony charge here. Pretty serious rap sheet this guy has. So let's start from the source where this all happened. So ZachXBT here on Twitter calls himself basically a crypto detective. He's been known for outing quite a few other people. And right here, he tweets out, "This needs to be shared. Sifu, who is the co-founder of Quadra CX, Michael Patron, if you are unfamiliar with, that is the Canadian exchange that collapsed in 2019 after the founder disappeared with $169 million. I have confirmed this with Daniele over the messages. And if you don't already know by now, but which you should, Sifu is the one who manages Wonderland's nearly $1 billion treasury, and he is the co-founder of a company that disappeared with $169 million. So let's see here. He messages Daniel here. He says, I came across something rather odd about that. This is about Dubai? No, about Sifu. Oh crap, what's up? Well, he's the Quadra guy. He says, I can't confirm, but I have thought all about this. And he says, dangerous to be working with. And then in the next series of messages, Daniela says that we started this together without knowing. It's interesting, I thought he was more careful. Well, that's interesting because Daniel just kind of said that he actually was not aware right here. He says, I cannot confirm, but by this next message, it sounds like he kind of knows. We started this together without knowing. And then he goes on to tweet that prior to Quadra, Michael helped run an identity theft ring called Shadow Crew, in which he later pled guilty to. Well, Danny insisted it's fine to put both his rep on the line, along with, most importantly, all the money people have deposited into protocols at risk. I never would have expected this, but cannot sit on it any longer. So this is absolutely ridiculous what has happened here, guys. And we're going to get to the article and everything about what Sifu or Michael Patron has actually done, and we're going to find out that's not even his real name. He's going to make quite a few other aliases to kind of get by and keep his real reputation hidden. But before we get to that, let's see what Danielle has to say here. So he says, today allegations about our team member were circulated. I want everyone to know I was aware of this and decided that the past of an individual doesn't determine their future. I choose to value the time we spent together without knowing his past more than anything. And you know what? I somewhat agree with this. I'm not going to judge someone if they have a criminal record, if they have some petty DUI charges or they serve time over something like robbing a couple rolls or whatever from a grocery store. It's like, okay, yeah, big whoop, nobody cares really. It's not a big deal. You're fine. Come back to society. I will welcome you with open arms. I do not care. But Sifu's rap sheet is a little bit different because he has multiple accounts of scamming people. So we're going to get to that in just a second, but that's what Daniel says here. And he also issued an official statement here on mirror.xyz. I'll link all of these down in the description below so you can go check them out for yourself. So let's see what Daniel's statement here says. I would like to issue the statement to summarize what has happened. Word came out that Sifu, who has been running the Wonderland treasury, previously was the founder of Quadra CX and has had other occurrences in the past. Now, I find it funny that Daniel here says occurrences. We're going to get to that in a minute because these occurrences are they're a little bit how do you say, more intense than the occurrences. So he says, I found out about this 1 month ago and I am in the opinion of giving second chances. Me too, but he's had multiple second chances. We'll get to that. As I have mentioned on Twitter, I've seen the community very divided about my choice of maintaining him as the treasury manager after finding out who he was in his past. Regardless of what has happened, I'm going to have him step down until there's a vote, which the vote is happening right now. And it's not looking good for Sifu. But now let's get to who this guy actually is. So we have two articles here. This is from the globeandmail.com. And we also have the Department of Justice. A Department of Justice basically booking sheet because obviously in the US, whenever you're admitted into a federal prison, you get your booking sheet and you get entered into the system forever. And there's an article about everything, right? Okay, so let's get into the Department of Justice booking sheet first. So there's here 6 men who are associated with shadowcrew.com, one of the largest online centers for trafficking and stolen credit and bank card numbers and identity information, pleaded guilty in federal court. This operation was taken out by the Secret Service. The Secret Service had to get involved with something this guy was in. That's not good at all. So we're going to see here that Omar Tahini. Now, you don't recognize that name because right here, Zach calls him out as Michael Patron. Well, Michael Patron, like I said, has had quite a few aliases, and one of those is Omar Dehini. So he first went under the name Omar Dehini inside of the United States, and then later changed his name to Michael Patron after he ended up in Canada. And so this was the beginning of Sifu's, or Michael Patron, or Omar Dehini's rap sheet, right? This is the beginning of his rap sheet, right? And he's involved in shadowcrew.com, stealing people's credit cards, stealing people's bank information, stealing, their debit card, identity information, all of that stuff. And, that's one thing. That is one thing to do right there. And now let's come over here to the Globe and Mail right here. The Quadra co-founder served time in the U.S. prison for role in identity theft, ring documents revealed. And as Zach mentioned over here, the Quadra platform that he co-founded, the founders walked away with $169 million that has just never been found. It has just disappeared with it. So who knows where that money really ended up, but I have a feeling it ended up with Sifu, or I don't even know what name to use now. We'll just call him Sifu. It ended up with Sifu and the other co-founder as well. So the article here is digging into him, right, because they think there's something fishy going on here. And so what it says here is that Mr. Patron denied that he lived in the United States more than a decade ago under the Omar Dehini, a resident who pleaded guilty in 2005 to one count of conspiracy to transfer identification documents, which is this right here. So he's going under the name of Michael at this time, saying, no, that wasn't me. That was Omar. That was Omar Dehini. I'm Michael Patron. I'm not the one who's going to steal your identity and do all of that other kind of stuff. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not Omar. I'm Michael. So he's denying all of that. But the Globe and the Mail keeps on digging like good reporters do. And they get into the public records of the sheriff's department in New Jersey. And they get the booking photos. And boom, just like that, they link the two names. Michael Patron is now 100% Omar Dehini. And then when they out him, they inform him that, hey, we have booking photos of you. We know who you actually are. To which he replies, well, I obviously disagree with your conclusions. I have to wait for counsel prior to responding more thoroughly, which is unlikely to happen before your deadline. Oh my gosh, if that's not the 100% classic bad guy response when someone says, hey, I know you're guilty of something, you go, well, I'm sorry, but I have to wait until I hear from my lawyers or until I get the proper counsel to respond to you about these claims. It's like, okay, so you're obviously guilty. Just out yourself at this point. Who cares? Everybody already knows. And then we scroll down a little bit here. We can find out about how long he was in prison for. So in 2004, he was taken into custody. This is for the shadowcrew.com. So this is now 10 years later. He ended up founding the Quadra CX, but 10 years in the past, now we're back in 2004. He was released on bail for $250,000 is what his family posted in bail. I'm assuming they probably got that money from all the credit cards they've been stealing and debit cards. Anyways, though, we'll not go into that part. And he was later sentenced to 18 months in federal prison and released in May 2007. And this is where it gets even better right here, guys. He pleaded guilty to a number of charges, including second-degree burglary, grand theft, and following month, he was also, his records list his alias as Omar Patron. So it looks like he had multiple aliases. He went by Omar Dehini, then changed it to Omar Patron, and then he says, you know what, I need to get away from that Omar name. It's a little too obvious, right? So he changed it to Michael Patron. Absolutely ridiculous. So this is him right here, guys. This is Michael Patron, Omar Dehini, Sifu, whatever the hell you want to call him at this point. Go ahead, call him whatever you want. Okay, so now lastly on this article, which I will link down below so you guys can go read through it. It's a pretty juicy article. There's just too much here for me to cover in this short video. So how did nobody really find out about this when he was the founder of Quadra CX? That he had this quite reputable rap sheet here that he did some pretty shady stuff about 10 years ago. Well, he hired Reputation.Canada, which they basically do business to help shady people not have so much shady stuff in their name. So, they help crooked politicians. They help people who have criminal records. They help people like porn stars who are trying to get out of the industry. What they do is they basically go through the internet and they write up a bunch of different really good blogs about you, a bunch of different really good posts about you. So that way when anyone searches your name, that SEO is going to bring up all of the good things and all the bad things are going to get buried well down below the surface, which is going to make it really hard to find out stuff about you. So right here, Reputation.ca created 10 different websites and article profiles about Mr. Patron, touting him as a go-to spokesperson on fintech, a popular presenter at industry conferences. Funny enough, though, Sifu actually ends up suing them later down the road because it turns out they did not do a good enough job at protecting his reputation when he was outed as the criminal he is. So, Quite the rap sheet this guy's had. Now, what does this mean for Wonderland? Well, not good things. I mean, this Discord right now, guys, is in absolute shambles. People are just freaking losing their minds. We're down like another 48% in the last 24 hours. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. So for the time being, he has been removed from the Wonderland treasury. He says, I don't want anyone to feel tricked or manipulated in any way. I've decided to cease all treasury management activities until a vote regarding my future employment has concluded. He says, I work for you though, my backers. If you no longer feel comfortable with me leading this app as I have done since founding it only 4 short months ago, I will not be here. And now there is a vote going on right now, and it is not working because I'm assuming there's just so many people voting. I actually already did vote no to replace him as the treasury manager because, like I said, here's the thing. I 100% believe in second chances, right? I believe in that. But when you have the rap sheet that this guy has and you have had second chances, right? You started an online identity theft ring back in 2004, 2005, whatever, with your buddies. You all got booked. You went to federal prison. You think that would be enough to stop you. And then just a few short years later, you start another scam website, QuadraCX, who ends up scamming tons of people. $169 million just ends up becoming cash in the wind for people. And tons of people lose hundreds and thousands of dollars. There's a difference between having a second chance and having a rap sheet of repeated offenses, guys. There's a large difference. Now, to be fair though, while he has not done anything exactly to Wonderland, he hasn't stolen any money from the treasury. I mean, here is his wallet address. I'll also link this down in the description below. Here's his wallet address right here. And it looks like he has actually transferred money from his personal wallet to the treasury. So it looks like he's trying to repay back into the treasury. But take with that what you will. Take this whole thing with what you will. Now, what am I personally doing? Am I going to be selling? No, I'm not going to be selling because here's the thing. We are down just so freaking bad right now. It does not make sense for me to sell and just take such a massive loss. I mean, if it really comes to it, I guess at the end of the year, you know, if this thing goes to zero, I'm going to have a really great tax write-off, and that will be that. If not, though, it's not a big deal because here's the thing. I put in what I was 100% willing to lose. If I was not willing to lose this money, I was not going to put it in. So for me, it's not a huge deal that this is like absolutely tanking right now. I still believe in the long-term vision of this project, the revenue share, but do I want Sifu leading that? No, I don't. I don't want him leading that. And, you know, I don't know, guys. Do with this what you will. I'll link all this information down in the description below, but this is ridiculous what's happening here. I wish this information would have been out a long time ago because I would not have probably invested in the project if I knew who this guy was. Now, let this be a lesson. I am never going to invest in projects where I don't know who the founders are because it's just sketch, man. It's just so sketch. You don't know who could be doing what. If there's ill intent, who knows what could have happened in the future as this plays out. You know, it's been another 5 years or so. So maybe he has changed. Maybe things have changed and he's a different guy now. He's out set on the path to do good things. Or maybe he had ill intents which have just not been revealed yet. And he didn't have the chance to play them out because he got doxxed and outed. So that is all for today's video, guys. Do with that what you will. For me, I'm going to hold it because at this point, like I said, it doesn't make sense for me to sell for such a huge loss unless I want the tax write-offs, but I don't need the tax write-offs right now. So I'm just going to hold this for the long term and let this all play out. For now, I'm going to keep moving in my money into other things though. No more investing in this project. Just let this ride out for the long term. And with that, thanks for watching today's video, everyone. Have a good one, and always check who the founders are. I'll see you on the next one.